Keep your mouth shut, Thomas. Richard's voice cuts through the laughter and clinking glasses like a jagged shard of glass, shattering the jovial atmosphere of our celebratory gathering. I feel the weight of his gaze, cold and unyielding, pinning me to the spot, while the air around me thickens with tension. The corner of his mouth curls into a smirk, as if he knows the storm brewing inside me. I look around the room, at the faces of those I once called friends, now reduced to masks of intimidation. Simon shifts uncomfortably beside Richard, his eyes darting away, unwilling to meet mine. The other's laughter fades, replaced by an uneasy silence. It's hard to believe how quickly camaraderie can morph into hostility. Come on, Thomas, let's not kid ourselves. Richard continues, his tone dripping with condescension. You wouldn't want to ruin your career over a little misunderstanding, would you? The disdain in his voice is palpable, and I feel my heart race, fire igniting in my chest. How can they turn on me like this? How can they expect me to be complicit in their greed? I refuse to back down, my voice steady, though my insides churn with fury. This isn't just a misunderstanding. It's embezzlement, Richard. It's wrong. I say the words with conviction, and for a moment, I see a flicker of uncertainty cross his face, a brief crack in the armor of his arrogance. Then, like a wolf sensing weakness, the pack circles in. You really think you can take us on, Thomas? We're talking about lives here. Simon chimes in, his voice shaking just slightly, betraying his own fear. You'd be throwing away everything you've worked for. Their threats hang heavy in the air, wrapped in veiled promises of ruin. I stand firm, feeling the pulse of justice course through my veins. I won't be a part of this. You're all better than this. This isn't who we are. The words feel like a desperate attempt to reach the remnants of morality buried beneath their greed. But their laughter rings hollow, echoing off the walls, mocking me. The atmosphere shifts abruptly, turning cold and hostile as Richard's eyes narrow. You know, loyalty is a two-way street, Thomas. You could use a lesson in that. He leans in closer, his breath hot against my skin. You could disappear, just like that. All it takes is a little nudge. You wouldn't want that, would you? A chill runs down my spine, a shiver of realization dawning on me. This isn't just an ultimatum. This is a threat. My heart races, but I refuse to show fear. I am not afraid of you, Richard. I will take this to the authorities if I have to. The moment I say the words, I know the repercussions. A brutal public denouncement follows, a spectacle for all to witness. My name becomes synonymous with betrayal, a traitor in a den of wolves. My colleagues, once my comrades, turn their backs on me. The whispers start, those toxic murmurs weaving through the hallways of the firm, painting me as the villain in their twisted narrative. The next day I sit in my office, staring at the phone that never rings. The silence is deafening. I go through the motions, but everything feels surreal. I should be preparing for meetings, plotting future strategies, not sitting here isolated in my own mind. Then the door swings open, and my world collapses. Thomas, we need to talk. My manager's voice is clipped, devoid of empathy. The words hang between us, heavy and foreboding. I stand to greet him, but feel the ground beneath me shift. The look in his eyes tells me everything before he even starts. We're letting you go. The phrase pierces through the air, sharp and cruel. What? You can't be serious. My voice cracks, disbelief flooding my thoughts. The termination package is thrust into my hands as if it's a talisman to ward off the inevitable. I read the words, but they blur together, a cacophony of betrayal. You all know I did nothing wrong. He doesn't respond, his face a mask of indifference. The warmth of camaraderie evaporated. Your name has been associated with issues. We can't have that kind of stigma in our ranks. You understand? I watch as he turns and walks out, leaving me alone in the sterile office that once felt like home. The walls seem to close in, and I feel the weight of shame settle on my shoulders, suffocating. My name erased from the company directory, a phantom in the very place I once thrived. I am expelled from the circle, an outcast, and all it took was a moment of integrity. In the days that follow, the whispers continue, snaking their way through the industry. I hear about the rumors circulating that I was the mastermind behind the embezzlement, a desperate ploy to cover my tracks. Each accusation drives another nail into the coffin of my reputation. The isolation becomes unbearable. I sit alone in my apartment, the silence pressing down on me. The financial uncertainty gnaws at my gut. I feel like a ghost wandering through the remnants of a life I once cherished. I question everything: the loyalty of those I once called friends, the very principles I stood for. Betrayed and abandoned, I am left with nothing but the embers of anger simmering beneath the surface. But even in the shadows of disgrace, I sense a shift within me. A resolve begins to form, a quiet determination to reclaim my name. They think they've won, that I will remain silenced, but they underestimate my will. I will rise from the ashes of their betrayal. I will turn the tides and dismantle the very foundations they built on lies and greed. This is only the beginning. Every empire is built on a foundation of secrets, and I intend to bring theirs crumbling down. Days turn into nights as I bury myself in the task at hand. I lock the door to my small apartment, a fortress of solitude, and dive into the world of spreadsheets, documents, and old emails. Each file I uncover, each transaction I analyze, serves as a reminder of the betrayal that transformed my life. I can almost hear Richard's laughter echoing in my head, the way he'd smugly brushed off my concerns about the ethical breaches. He thought I was naive. He thought I would stay quiet. After weeks of meticulous work, I finally assemble a thick dossier filled with the financial misdeeds of my former associates. I have everything from forged signatures to inflated invoices, each piece like a dagger poised to pierce the heart of their empire. The thrill of uncovering such deception fuels me. I feel alive, driven by a purpose that has been absent for far too long. The next step is crucial. I need guidance, someone who knows the labyrinthine laws surrounding corporate fraud. Searching online, I find a law firm specializing in financial crimes. The moment I step into their glossy office, I'm struck by the contrast between the polished surroundings and the gritty reality of my mission. The attorney I meet, a sharp-eyed woman named Claire, greets me with a firm handshake. Her confidence is palpable, and I feel a flicker of hope. After a brief introduction, I lay out my findings. I watch her face as she absorbs the details, her brows furrowing in concentration. I can see the wheels turning in her mind. "This is significant, Thomas," she finally says. "With this evidence, we could potentially initiate an investigation that would unravel their entire operation. But we have to be careful. Timing is everything." I nod, a surge of energy coursing through me. Careful, timing. Two words that define my strategy going forward. I need to understand the lay of the land, and I need to be patient. Armed with Claire's advice, I delve deeper into my former colleagues' financial networks. My insider knowledge proves invaluable as I uncover an intricate web of hidden trusts and shell companies. Each discovery leads me closer to the truth, revealing a tapestry of deceit that connects Richard and his cronies to millions siphoned from unsuspecting investors. I document everything. Each piece of evidence, a brick in the wall I'm building against them. The more I learn, the more I realize how vital it is to position myself strategically in the financial game. One evening, I sit at my desk, staring at the screen. A rival firm is gaining traction, and I see an opportunity. With my savings, I decide to purchase a minority share. It's a risk, but one I'm willing to take. Becoming a stakeholder means I can gain insights into their operations and perhaps even sway their strategies against Richard and his circle. I make the call, my heart racing as I finalize the transaction. Now, I'm not just an outsider watching from the shadows. I'm part of a new game, and I'm ready to play. As I attend social events, my demeanor remains calm and collected. I engage in small talk, exchange pleasantries, but inside, I'm a storm. Each handshake with a former associate feels like a masquerade. I'm a spectator in a theater of deceit, gathering intel while maintaining the semblance of normalcy. Richard and his allies still don't suspect a thing. Little do they know I'm plotting their downfall. Months pass, and the tension builds. With each gathering I attend, I hear whispers of their latest schemes. They boast of new investments, their voices dripping with arrogance. I smile politely, All the while, my mind races ahead, strategizing my next moves. I'm not just watching, I'm learning, absorbing their motivations, their weaknesses. Every evening, I pore over documents, connecting dots, building a case that will one day lead to their exposure. I find myself in a rhythm, a routine that feels both exhilarating and dangerous. The more I gather, the more I feel the weight of the impending reckoning. In the quiet moments, when the noise of the world fades, I remind myself of the betrayal that ignited this fire. Richard's laughter still echoes in my mind, but it has transformed into a battle cry. I will not be silenced. I will not be forgotten. During a particularly lavish gala, I observe carefully as the elite gather to pat each other's backs. The air is thick with pretense, and I blend into the background, a ghost among the living. Richard stands at the center, dominating the conversation, his confidence a mask for the cracks forming beneath. I study him closely, noting the fine lines of anxiety beginning to etch his forehead. I feel the rush of adrenaline course through me. They think they're invincible, but I see the truth. Their empire is built on a fragile foundation, one that I'm prepared to shatter. Every piece of evidence I gather is a countdown to my moment of retribution. As the night unfolds, I catch snippets of conversations, discussions around new projects, investments, and whispers of growing tensions within their ranks. I feel a thrill. Each detail adds to my understanding of their vulnerabilities. I nod and smile, pretending to be just another guest, but inside I'm meticulously crafting my plan. The hours pass, and a familiar face catches my eye, an old colleague who used to work closely with Richard. I approach him, feigning casual interest in his recent endeavors. As we talk, I sense an opportunity. He's eager to share insights about Richard's latest activities, and I encourage him, gently steering the conversation toward the financial irregularities that have been plaguing the firm. He leans in, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. You know, I've heard rumors about some questionable investments. Something shady is definitely going on. I smile, my heart racing. If only someone would take a closer look, right? His eyes widen slightly, perhaps recognizing the depth of my interest. I can see the gears turning in his mind, the realization that he might be onto something larger than he initially thought. We exchange numbers, and as I walk away, I feel the weight of another piece of the puzzle sliding into place. His willingness to share indicates that I'm not the only one who has been rattled by Richard's arrogance. There's a growing discontent simmering beneath the surface, and I intend to fan those flames. Days later, I find myself back in Claire's office, the walls around me echoing with the gravity of what I'm about to propose. I lay out my findings, the increasing evidence, and the insights I've gathered from my social outings. Claire listens intently, her eyes narrowing as I outline the connections I've made. "This is substantial, Thomas," she finally says, her tone shifting from clinical to serious. "We might be close to having enough to initiate formal proceedings." My pulse quickens. "What's the next step?" "We need to find a way to corroborate your evidence with other sources. If we can gather testimonies or further documentation from other employees, we can build a solid case." The urgency in her voice ignites something within me. I need to be the catalyst for their undoing, and with each passing day, I come closer to the inevitable climax. The tension continues to build as I navigate this intricate dance of deception. My connections deepen, and I maintain my facade of normalcy, all while plotting my final moves. Keeping my emotions in check is paramount. I need to remain calm and calculated. In the quiet moments, I reflect on how far I've come. From being ostracized to positioning myself as a legitimate player in the financial arena, it's a transformation fueled by the fire of betrayal. Richard and his associates may have thought they had silenced me, but they only lit the spark of my revenge. Every whispered conversation, every piece of evidence, every strategic move brings me closer to the moment I've been waiting for. The moment I take back control, not just for myself, but for all those who have been wronged by their greed. The time for patience is drawing to a close. With every passing day, the walls around Richard's empire are closing in. I can almost taste the sweet victory that awaits me. The day of reckoning is coming, and I'm ready to strike. My heart pounds in my chest as I submit the dossier to the regulatory authorities. The weight of the files feels like 1,000 bricks, but the flush of adrenaline propels me forward. This evidence is a testament to the greed and deceit I witnessed in those elite financial circles. I can practically taste the bitterness of betrayal as I think of Richard and the others who thought they could silence me. They chose the wrong man to wrong. A year has passed since that day. A year of quiet plotting. A year of rebuilding my life from the ashes they left behind. I've spent sleepless nights studying the intricacies of business law, learning everything I could about the financial structures that once gave me power. Now I'm armed with knowledge and a network of allies who share my disdain for corruption. When I receive the invitation to the gala, I initially think it's a cruel joke. A penthouse soiree filled with champagne and laughter, hosted by the very people who orchestrated my downfall. But as I read the elegantly embossed card, I realize it's the perfect stage for my plan to unfold. I can't resist the urge to attend, to confront my past head-on, even if it's from the shadows. The night of the gala arrives. The penthouse is adorned with lavish decorations, glistening chandeliers casting a warm glow over the polished marble floor. The laughter of the elite fills the air, the smugness palpable. Richard stands at the center, a wolf in a tailored suit, basking in the attention. I slip through the crowd unnoticed, a ghost haunting the very halls where they once plotted against me. I maintain my composure even as I spot familiar faces. Each one looks so carefree, so oblivious. They have no idea what's coming. I can feel the tension in my stomach as I approach the bar, ordering a drink to steady my nerves. The evening drags on, and the clinking of glasses becomes a symphony of arrogance. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. A hush falls over the crowd, and I catch sight of a group of agents entering the penthouse. They're not here for pleasantries. Their expressions are serious, their presence a storm cloud over this celebration. Whispers ripple through the crowd like wildfire. I watch as Richard's confident facade crumbles. The agents stride toward him, the air thick with anticipation. Then the news breaks. A federal investigation has been launched into the very firm that has been Richard's pride and joy. I can feel the thrill coursing through me, a mixture of satisfaction and vindication. They are finally being held accountable for their actions. The reputations they built with lies are about to come crashing down. I can't help but let a small smile escape. Richard's face turns a shade of pale I've never seen. The room buzzes with disbelief, and the elite, once so secure in their power, are beginning to understand the gravity of the situation. I watch as they fumble with their phones, trying to comprehend the implications of the agent's presence. As the agents start making their rounds, I know this is my moment. I step forward, gathering my courage. The crowd shifts, eyes darting toward me. Richard's gaze locks onto mine, a mixture of anger and surprise flickering across his features. "Thomas," he snarls, venom lacing his voice. "What are you doing here?" I revel in the confidence I feel, the control I now possess. "Just enjoying the evening, Richard," I reply, my voice steady. "I just wanted to see how you're holding up." He scoffs, but there's a crack in his bravado. "You think they'll believe you? You're a disgraced employee, nothing more." "That's where you're wrong," I say, unwavering. "I've got a few assets tied to this very group, you see." I pull out a piece of paper, a carefully crafted document outlining my acquisition of key holdings owned by the company. "I've been doing my homework while you've been toasting champagne." Gasps ripple through the crowd as I lay the paper on the bar. It's the final nail in their coffin, a strategic move that will dismantle their influence. I've played my cards right, ensuring I claim the leverage they thought they wielded. "Do you honestly think a few little shares will save you?" Richard's tone is desperate now, but I see the fear lurking in his eyes. I lean in, relishing the moment. "It's not just shares, Richard. It's the beginning of the end for you and your precious empire. I've gathered enough support to challenge your every move, and once the investigation concludes, your networks will crumble. You will be held accountable." As the realization sinks in, the room erupts. The chatter escalates into chaos. Friends turn against friends. Alliances dissolve in an instant. Richard stands frozen, the world he built with deception collapsing around him. I watch as the agents pull him aside, questions flying. He stammers, desperately trying to maintain control. But it's over. He's losing everything. I feel a sense of calm wash over me. I've orchestrated this moment with precision, ensuring that they face the consequences of their actions without so much as raising a finger. For years, I'd been the scapegoat, the man they tossed aside when I refused to play by their rules. But now I stand before them as a symbol of justice. They may have thought they could silence me, but in their moments of triumph, they failed to see the slow burn of my retribution. I take a step back, allowing the chaos to unfold. The agents lead Richard away, the crowd parting like the Red Sea. I've become a specter of their downfall, watching as their alliances shatter and their reputations are dragged through the mud. Tonight, I reclaim the part of myself they tried to destroy. I smile, feeling a sense of closure as I turn away from the spectacle. My heart, once heavy with betrayal, now beats with a renewed sense of purpose. I'm no longer the man they cast aside, I'm the architect of their undoing. As I exit the penthouse, the echoes of their panic linger behind me. I step into the cool night air, the city lights twinkling like stars of a new beginning. I finally feel free, released from the chains of their treachery. I've found my path again, one forged through quiet justice and strategic vengeance. I've reclaimed my power, and it feels extraordinary. The storm is over, but the journey is just beginning.